Welcome to the Prime Debate. Teenage angst is growing up reality. The disturbing aspect nowadays is the angst manifesting itself in violence and criminal activities. Punjab and Kashmir have gone through lengthy periods of turmoil, and violence remained a living reality, something you could not escape. But normalcy returned to Punjab over 15 years back. So what justification is there for the youth looking at violence and crime as an expected part of life? Why are we so easily provoked? Why are we, so to speak, always on the edge? Is it stress, or is it because voices are not being heard?
Emotions are meant to be released. They can be dangerous if pent up for too long. Then they erupt with destructive force, a force which is not new to Punjab. Starting from the extremism of the freedom movement to the fury of the Mandal Commission to the frenzy of student elections, we have seen it all. Do we need more? What makes the youth so angry anyway? Anger can be understood. It is not always bad. In fact, anger is often the first step towards a positive change. It is when anger loses direction and reason that things go wrong.
And to discuss this issue, we have in our studios Professor Sherry Sabharwal, the Department of Sociology, Punjab University, Dr. Pramila Kaushal, former Principal of Government College for Girls and now the Principal of Indo-Global Colleges, Jajwinder Singh Sidhu, the President of Punjab University Students Union, and Santosh Bhandari, the Principal of DAV School. Well, thank you all for being with us this evening. Well, Sherry, if I do begin with you, shall we first say, do you think anger amongst the youth has actually gone much higher than before?
Anger might have been there earlier, but I think the manifestation of anger has changed.
Yeah.
Earlier also youth had their own, there's always this phase when a youngster feels I'm not being heard. You've gone through it, I've gone through it, we've all gone through it. The difference was how we expressed it. The form of expression has changed.
Yes.
And for instance, I remember children are always supposed to be badmash, if we might use that word.
True.
And I remember my father telling me that उनकी बदमाशी का concept क्या था कि रात को मिल के अपने सारे मोहल्ले के जो हैं नेम प्लेट्स बदल देते थे लोगों के घर के कि सुबह उठो तो मेरे किसी की और का लगा हुआ है, किसी और के लगा हुआ है. This was the harmless kind of pranks they were doing. Now things are a little, and energy used to be taken out there. What has happened is their the manifestation of anger or frustration or even energy has become very violent. It's become almost vicious many times, and that is what is worrying. Not that there is energy, that has to be there.
Dr. Pramila, if I move to you, she's very correct by saying that pranks, children will always play pranks. I mean, that's what because they have so much of energy and they're going to be doing things which we as adults lose out on. But now, do you feel that there's a slight change in the way children and then slowly the youth is using their anger or that energy into a negative sort of way?
Definitely, I agree with you. And the way we said that the students, the children always has energy, and that also is surplus one. But the channelization of energy is very important, which somehow or the other these days, the children, the parents, somehow or the other there is a mismatch. Somehow or the other they have not been able to channelize the energy to constructive things, and that is why the students are, and the children by and large, they are like this. Let me just tell you that, and for this widespread violence and the devaluation of the value system that is rampant over here, even the parents and the family on the large is to be blamed for that, because right from the beginning, students and the children, they always feel that they are not been given proper attention, and the parents, the working parents, they are so much out for the materialistic pursuits that they hardly any time left with them to look to the problems of the child.
Jajwinder, before I come to you, I'm going to bring in Mrs. Bhandari. Ma'am, you are a principal of a school, and you have all these children that are coming to you. Now, do you feel that there's a change in the way school students are than maybe 10 years ago?
Definitely yes, because see, the problem is far more serious than just children playing pranks or inherently children being what we say badmash or naughty. See, the problem is far more serious because in the last 1.5 or maybe 2 decades, something is on the way out, and something new is very painfully being born. Something is decaying, crumbling down, and something which is being born is very indistinct, not very clear, neither to the parents nor to the system as such. And children are the product of that. Basically what I feel is this, the basic root cause of this anger is, and not only anger, it's a violence.
Violence, rather.
Violence. Far more serious than just expression of anger. And what I feel is, it is the value conflict and the inability to manage that conflict. Value conflict, as Madam Sherry said, would have been always there in our generation, in every generation. But then the conflicts were resolved within the family, or at least the society, the social setup, the schools, the colleges, they worked to resolve those conflicts within the mind of the child.
Yeah, I think that is very valid.
Sorry, that's why I am butting in. I said it earlier also, and this is how the family has a very important role to play, which some or the other is not being taken properly.
But,
so,
okay, before we get to actually families, and we can take that as a separate issue, but let's just ask this young student over here. तनु लगता है कि it's being fair कि the children के सारे कहते हैं कि आजकल बच्चे बहुत violent हो गए ने, तनु लगता है कि आज judgment बिल्कुल ठीक है?
नहीं मैम, आई डोंट थिंक द सेम। जिਵੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਬੱਚੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਾਇਲੈਂਟ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਹੈ।
ਹਾਂ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਨਿਕਲਦੇ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਲੜਾਈ ਹੋ ਗਈ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਬੰਦੂਕਾਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਨਿਕਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨੂੰ ਗੋਲੀ। ਆਈ ਮੀਨ ਦੈਟਸ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਹੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅੱਜਕੱਲ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਮੈਮ, ਦਾ ਯੂ ਕੈਨ ਸੀ ਦ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਵਿਚ ਆਰ ਹੇਅਰ ਫॉर देयर ਕੈਰੀਅਰ, ਉਹ ਮੈਮ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ 'ਚ ਇਨਵੋਲਵ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ। ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਈ ਐਂਟੀ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਐਲੀਮੈਂਟਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਵੋਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਤੇ ਬਟ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਵੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ। ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਦਾ ਸਿਰਫ ਨਾਮ ਹੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਬਟ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ that is done by the anti social elements।
ਇਹ ਹਰ ਟਾਈਮ ਸੀਗਾ, ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਤਾਂ ਐਂਟੀ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਹੀ।
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਮੈਮ,
ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵੱਧ ਗਿਆ
ਮੈਮ। ਲਾਈਕ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਸੀਗਾ, ਬਟ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਚੈਨਲਾਈਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ, ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਲਾਈਕ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਵੱਲ ਧਿਆਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ। ਅੱਜ ਜੇ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਹਾਈਪ ਹੈਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟ ਵੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਅੱਗੇ।
Do you think that is valid when he says that?
This is a very valid point, and it is basically the political system also that is important, because all our political leaders, I am very sorry to say, I mean they feel that this is catch them young, so they are teaching them these things, which of course is taking a very ugly turn at times.
Excuse me, at least I somehow would like to make my observations of what this young man has said. He is very right that there are some who indulge in it, but there are others who don't. And there are some are increasing in number.
Yes, that's what we are going
Number
to
one.
That
Number
percentage is slowly increasing.
Yeah, slowly increasing. The reason is the same, as Madam has said, that as I earlier said, the management of the conflict within the mind of the children, their questions are not being answered. When they see the difference between what their elders profess and what they practice, there are so much of confusion and conflict in the mind. Now, do we provide them and facilitate to resolve that conflict? Like ma'am said, are there shoulders for them? Are the grandparents available? Are the parents available? And if the parents available, do they practice what they preach?
Yeah. Okay, let me just ask him. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ parenting plays a huge role, ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ parents ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਾਂ support structure ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਬੱਚਾ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਥੋੜੇ ਜਿਹੇ anti social ਉਹ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ,
ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ parents ਕੋਲ ਵੀ ਇੰਨਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਚਿਲਡਰਨਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਪੈਂਡ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ।
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਗਰੀ ਕਰੋਗੇ?
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਮੈਮ।
ਓਕੇ, ਇਹ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾਤਰ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਕਿ ਸ਼ਹਿਰੀ ਬੱਚੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ?
ਮੈਮ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਵੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਨਵੋਲਵ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਸ਼ਹਿਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਇਨਵੋਲਵ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ।
पेरेंटिंग की डेफिनेशन ही बदल गई है ना।
Very true.
We tend to say that अब बच्चे को खुला छोड़ो, क्योंकि वो दबा के क्यों रखना है, पहले ऐसे ऑप्रेस्ड रखते थे बच्चे नु। But the point is, you go to a country like Japan, they have tsunami and not a single looting incident takes place. Value system बड़ा जबरदस्त instill किया है ना। So दो levels ने, one the value system has not been instilled here, parents don't have time, और भी छड्डो instill भी करता, I'm sure no parent says बच्चे नु कि तू violent हो। Obviously कहते तो होंगे बेटा नहीं ध्यान रखना है, नहीं करना, साडी इज्जत दा ख्याल है, whatever it might be, whichever way they might tell them. But what is missing is supervision. Parents are not supervising their children at all. जो मैडम ने शायद already mentioned करते हैं, as a school related, she will understand that, because I will not even call it support in the sense that एक ज़माने च माँ प्यो आप बच्चे नु स्कूल छड़ के वापस लेके आंदे सी. I understand parents work now, and there is a problem. So joint family is an issue. The child has to be looked after, otherwise वो astray होएगा. And की मिल रहे हैं उन्होंने रोल मॉडल्स की रह गए होते हैं।
Yes, I think that is a very important point. Role models.
Peer group, you already said mentioned that. Peer groups. क्योंकि आजकल अच्छा not only do we look at parenting differently, we define even deviance differently. Now crime is seen in a very positive sense at times. It's a sign of masculinity.
It's glorified.
It is glorified.
कि मतलब जो झगड़ा नहीं करेगा तो जो गल कह रहे हो कह देंगे कि कुड़ियां वर्गा यार तू ते
That is absolutely true. Yes,
yes. Here I would like to add.
But ma'am, मैं एक गल फिर भी कहना चाहूँगा. You can see all the violent incidents happen in the university. ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਮ ਦੋ ਤਿੰਨ ਫੇਜ਼ ਹੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨਲ ਐਕਟੀਵਿਟੀਜ਼ ਜਾਂ ਵਾਇਲੈਂਟ ਐਕਟੀਵਿਟੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਨਵੋਲਵ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ. ਤਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਿ ਹਰ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਹੀ ਵਾਇਲੈਂਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ.
We won't say that. ਅਸੀਂ ਆਹ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਕਿ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈ.
ਬਟ ਮੈਮ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ. देयर आर सम स्टूडेंट्स ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚੱਕ ਕੇ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਕੇਸ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਦੇ.
ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਬੇਟਾ ਸਿਰਫ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ.
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਜਿਸ ਜੋ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਰੋਡ ਰੇਜ ਜਿਸ
ਰੋਡ ਰੇਜ
ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅੱਗੋਂ ਗੱਡੀ ਕੋਈ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਲੈ ਗਿਆ ਤੇ ਰੋਕੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਫੜ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹੋ. ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਗੁੱਸਾ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਅੰਦਰ ਕੋਈ ਕਰਦਾ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਗਾਰ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਵੀ ਕੱਢ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਾਰ ਚ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਦਿਸਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ, ਪਰ ਦੈਟਸ ਇਟ. ਪਰ ਐ ਨਹੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਕਾਲਰ ਫੜ ਲਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ.
ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ there is another point. Fine, there are few, but even those who are not involved in crime, those who are not involved in the expression of such extreme anger, the expression of stress in some way or the other is there. Not only violence, let us say depression, let us say inability to progress in life,
or drugs,
let us say
self-esteem,
some abuse.
I'm going to take a short break, but after this break we're going to discuss the reasons why the youth are getting more violent. That's after this break. Welcome back. We are discussing the growing anger amongst the youth. Well, Ms. Sabharwal, if I do begin with, we've accepted the fact that there's more violence now than ever before, and also what could be the real reasons behind it? Why are the youth more and more, you know, the pent up anger is coming up in so many negative ways? Is it peer pressure? Is it because we cannot say we are timid? I mean, there are 100. Is it the environment that we are living in?
Okay, let's get one thing clear. On the one side, I have ambivalent views on this. On the one side, I would say they are victims in the sense they are victims of a culture of intolerance, culture of violence that they are